Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about some orthodontic patients who, let's say you finish your treatment. Let's say you tell them your treatment will take 18 months or 12 to 18 months. The case went really well. Everything was going really well, and you finish, let's say, in 12 months instead of 18 months, or in 15 months instead of 18 months. And those patients usually request, oh, I feel like the treatment was a little bit rushed. I want to stay in my brace for longer, or I want to keep my my aligners for longer. So how do you deal with those patients and how can you communicate with them? And I want to share with you some analogies that I use as well. So first, for credibility, my name is Khaled. I have been a dentist for 20 years. I run my own dental practice, Lakeside Dental Spa in Hervey Bay in Queensland. And I took it from one chair to 10 chairs, from 3 staff members to close to 40 staff members over the course of 15 years. And you can check my details below for credibility. I've also been involved with orthodontics since I was a student because I was working for an orthodontist as a dental assistant. Then after graduation, I did my course with Dr. Mahoney in Sydney, and I've been providing orthodontics in my practice since then. So those situations, first, before you reply to them or submit to the request, I always want to always click down more why they are asking this question or why they bring this up. So if I finish the case early and I believe we should take the brace off or should take the attachments off and give the patient retainers, and they say, look, can you keep them for longer? I always want to go back and ask them, like, can you share with me the reason you want to keep your braces or your Invisalign for longer? And the most common answer that I used to get would be with braces, I like the look of braces, or I feel like the teeth are not really stable yet and they might move back if we remove the brace early. I feel like we finished too early. I paid this amount of money and I feel like it was a bit rushed and I finished too early. Or they might say, I'm just, like worried about relapse, so I want to give them for security. So each answer, you really need to be prepared. But for me, what I always say, look, I will agree with them. Look, I understand. I completely understand where you're coming from. I agree with you. Like this, you're worried about the stability, and we finished too early. But I want to share with you how I see it because I see it from a different point of view. So with braces, for example, if I believe we have finished and your teeth are stable, and we want to jump into the retention phase, you need to trust the process and trust my opinion. Although we finished early, because you've been a great patient, you haven't broken anything, you've been really good with your bands and with hygiene. If we leave the brace for longer after we finish, there are more risks than benefits, and we have to put it on a scale. The risk of leaving the brace while we finish, number one, hygiene. Of course, there is always the added risk of getting cavities around the braces. But most importantly, let's say your appointment is in 4 weeks for review, and during these 4 weeks you broke one bracket, and you broke it while you're traveling, or you were not aware you broke the bracket, and these tooth now start to move. That means we have to remove this bracket, fix the bracket, put a new wire in, sometimes go backward in wires, and add probably another 3 to 4 months of treatment just to fine tune this movement again. So there is always a risk of delaying your treatment if we keep you on braces just for extra 4 weeks. And I can avoid this risk by removing the brace and giving you retainers. So same with aligners as well. Let's say you travel or something happens, you lose your aligners, you don't have retainers or backup retainers. Again, teeth can shift and during this period of time as well. And with the attachments, there is always the added risk of cavities. So the analogy I would use, I will use different ones and you can choose one of them. So for me, it's like similar to, let's say you coming to me to provide you with a surgery. Let's say we are going to do wisdom teeth. And I tell you the appointment is going to be 1 hour. I'm going to charge this much. But given, you've been a really nice, helpful patient, you didn't move too much, or given my skills that I managed to finish this case earlier than 1 hour, I finish in half an hour, would you want me to keep the flap open and the gums exposed and the bone open for an extra half an hour just to abide by the time I gave you and add more risk to surgical complication, or would you like me to finish the surgery as quick as possible as long as we got the results? Same thing as well, if let's say driving, I'm driving you, I'm your Uber driver, for example, or I'm a taxi driver, and I tell you the trip between Brisbane and Sydney is going to take 4 hours. And we managed to get there in 3 hours. The roads were clear, everything was nice, but the trip I provided you was 4 hours initially. Would you like me to keep you on the taxi for an extra hour? Just for the sake of abiding by this time. Same thing, let's say I'm gonna fly you from Brisbane to London and I say the flight is gonna be 15 hours. And I managed to finish the flight in 10 hours for many reasons. would you still want to stay on the plane for an extra 4 hours, just sitting there while the engine is running and everything is running? Last analogy I would use as well. Again, I'm not going to use all of them to the patient, just going to use one, depending on the patient. If it's a young female or an older guy, like everyone will use analogies that can fit their mindset. So let's say you want me to build a house for you, and I tell you it's going to take between 6 to 8 months to build the house. But we always allow weather conditions when we give you this time. Weather was perfect. Tradies were on time. Everything was perfectly on time, and we finished in 5 months the building. Would you want me to keep the fence around the house and not give you the key? With the risk of appliances might get stolen, or deprive you from moving in and setting up in. Or would you rather just move in and trust the process that we actually built to the high standards, we just finish early? So I use one of those analogies and explain to them the risk of keeping the braces for longer, especially when they say I want it for the looks. Yes, but what if you get cavities? What if the teeth start to relapse? And so on. And if they still insist, then I will get another consent out saying, hey, this is my recommendation. If you keep your brace for longer, it might delay the treatment even for the 18 months that we discussed earlier, if there is any thing breaking or thing like that. And I will put a consent, like a small consent, so they can own the responsibility for the delay in finishing. But usually when I have discussions, they all finish on time, or even earlier as we anticipated. So if you find this information helpful, make sure you like it and share it with your friends and colleagues. If you want to hear more about my videos, please subscribe to my channel and you'll be notified when more videos are released. Thank you so much for listening to me. It means a lot to me.